Newcastle United's takeover has been all but confirmed behind the scenes. The fans, the Geordies, the Tsunami are waiting for the official announcement of the takeover to be announced. One of the richest men, followed by the consortium of the Reuben brothers, and of course, Miss Staveley, are ready to take over and take Newcastle United to the next level in the Premier League. A net worth of over £300 billion is what the Crown Prince has. The consortium is worth billions. The idea is for steady organic growth, but of course with the ambitions of becoming Premier League champions, European champions, a powerhouse in the same way that the Chelseas, the Manchester Cities and the PSGs have done. We're delving into that. We're looking at the Paul Pogba news and the Yves Bissouma news as well. I need to touch on Yves Bissouma on this show, but do me a big favor. You're going to get the chance to come on and have your say. Smash that like button. Newcastle United are entering the big time. What are your thoughts and feelings? Who are the casualties of this going to be? Let's jump straight into it, people. Let's go. Morning, everyone. Welcome back to the terrace. I hope you're doing very well indeed. We're going to delve into Newcastle's takeover a little bit later on in the show. Paul Pogba news as well. I do want to start off with the Yves Bissouma situation because Yves Bissouma, as many people will be aware of by now, has reportedly been arrested. Arrested for alleged sexual assault. And I've because we cover like football news, I've had a lot of people reach out to me about this in relation to what do I think, what's going on, etc. My take is very simple on the Yves Bissouma situation. I'll be very clear, be very direct and very candid. At this moment in time, he hasn't been charged of anything. At this moment in time, he hasn't been found guilty of anything. So speculation into what he may or may not have done stops there. The reason I'm addressing it is because people are continually chasing me about it and asking me about it. Nobody knows as of now. We treat the potential proposed victim with respect. We wait for the dust to settle. We wait for the wood for the trees. We wait to see what comes out of it. The same way we did when it came to Callum Hudson-Odoi a year or so ago. The same as I'm doing to wait for the end of the court case for Ryan Giggs. The same as I do for all of these players. To tarnish somebody without there being a trial, without knowing all the facts, is ridiculous. To attack the potential victim without knowing all the facts is ridiculous. So the story ends there. You are innocent until you are proven guilty. Any victims or potential victims have to be listened to and things investigated. You leave it at that point. That's it. There is no more to say on the matter by anybody. Anybody else speculating from that point further forward, you're a disgrace. And I hope you get relegated. It's as simple as that. Paul Pogba news today that I wanted to delve into as well. It's an interesting one for me about Paul Pogba. There's big news that he wants to stay at Manchester United now, and he isn't publicly claiming that he doesn't. That was met by a tweet from Fabrizio Romano, kind of saying, well, the offer's been there for a long time. There's no indication that Paul Pogba is ready to sign as it stands right now. So two very L'Equipe and Fabrizio Romano with two slightly different variations of the same truth. Man United have put a big offer of around £400,000 a week in front of Paul Pogba. They're waiting on him to sign. There are some reports out of France that he wants to stay. Fabrizio isn't too sure or too sure of the situation, so I'd love to know what you think and feel about that. But the big news, of course, is the Newcastle United takeover. And what people think of it, what's going on, what's going to happen, and all that jazz. And I think for me, it's such an intriguing piece of news. It's an exciting piece of news for the Premier League. Most rivals, sort of that clash within the Big Six, are using it as a tool to attack Man United with, which I find really strange. I find it brilliant to see. It's like, oh, well done, Newcastle. United are dead. Newcastle fans are celebrating left, right, and centre, but deleting tweets furiously. Every hollow tweet, oil money tweet they've ever put out, they're trying to find and delete right now. You can see it happening. I'm seeing people bend and twist on their morality. There was a Newcastle fan I saw not long ago, like infuriated about the morality of this situation and these owners and what this owner's country do. now celebrating like a mad person. Oh my God, I can't believe we've got this. Like, that's why I don't get involved in any of that nonsense. It's why I keep my powder dry when it comes to all of that, because you never know when you're going to be hypocrisized by your own football club. I've said it so many times to people. Like, I don't bemoan new Man City's owners, PSG's owners, Roman Abramovich, because you never know who your next owner is going to be. And if it's something you're against, you're like, I would never support my football club if we were owned by a state that's homophobic, a state that mistreats women, a state that does this, or a state that does that, or a state that invades, or a state that does this. I never want an owner who supports this country financially or has this political belief or blah, blah, blah. And then someone like that owns your club and you go, well, actually, everybody else has got one. So, you know, I might as well accept it myself, eh? Like, I don't want an owner like that, but everyone's getting owners like that. So we might as well get with the program here, guys. Yeah. Shut up. Sit down. You are never against those kind of people. You have no moral standing against those issues. It was all for the gram, all for Twitter, all for attention, mainly all from jealousy. All from jealousy. And it's as simple as that. And you know what I'm talking about. Legit, you know what I'm talking about here. Do you know what I mean? All you virtue signalers. I'm going to find your tweets. No, I'm not, because I ain't got the energy for it. I bet you'll be able to find hundreds of tweets about, oh, this politician and this country and this type of man and this type of person, all bad. You then get an owner that kind of represents those things that you call bad, and it's, oh, we're going to win the league. Listen, drop me out. I've said it before. If you tweet saying you're an anti-capitalist, you're a liar. The answer's in the word tweet. But there we go. There we go. I want your thoughts and feelings on it. My view is this. My view is this when it comes to this takeover. It's the way the league's going. And they're not the first and won't be the last team to be owned by a billionaire. Now, a lot of people are looking at the amount of money, that this guy has got, and that's great. It isn't going to matter too much. And what I mean by it isn't going to matter too much is there's still only a certain level. There's still only a certain amount of money that that you're able to pump in, and people have got to be like kind of aware of that. So you look here, this is like the percentage of, if you look at Premier League wealth distribution, if you look at all the money that the owners of Premier League clubs have, that's how much Newcastle's owner has of the pie. However, you can't pump all that money into your football club. There's only a certain percentage. So the likes of Man City and Chelsea, Manchester United, they're not really in any worse situation other than a new competitor coming to the table. But when Newcastle enter, it'll be the Tottenhams and the Arsenals and the teams that spend less that will be impacted. Where Man United will be damaged over the other big teams I mentioned is how well we're run. And this is why I'm happy Newcastle have got the takeover, because it should again expose to Manchester United fans that the Glazers are our problem, not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And if this new consortium from Saudi Arabia, the Reuben brothers, and of course Amanda Staveley, if they run this takeover well and they operate the club in the right way, if they do it the way I believe it needs to be done, organic growth and not stupid statement signings in the beginning. And what I mean by that is, if they sign Haaland in January, it's going to take them a lot longer to grow into the team they want to be. I believe what Newcastle need to do is straight away start shopping in that Premier League upper echelon, that European upper echelon of player, and build that foundation over a 18-month to 2-year period. Get the right manager in to start building them from now, and then adding the star quality as their squad grows and gets better and better and better. And if they do that, Newcastle are here to stay. If they go in too big too soon, I would have slight concerns, because typically that doesn't tend to be the process that works. People will pull on Chelsea, but Chelsea were already a Champions League team up near the top end of the table. They were just in a bad situation financially. Man City were at the other end of that spectrum. They were a high mid-table team when the Sheikh took over, And actually, the first few years, it didn't really work for them when they did the Robinho signings and everything else. When they then started to build slowly, like good quality squad players, and then it was like a David Silva, good quality squad players, and Aguero, good quality Vincent Kompany. It's almost like Vincent Kompany is a great example. He wasn't a superstar when they bought him. Does that make sense? And I think if Newcastle get the balance right, steady, not slow, steady organic growth, no ridiculous statements, signings too early, because you can almost do what you did with Robinho. Probably wasn't good enough, but he didn't know that Man City existed. It isn't the kind of attitude you want from players arriving. But I think within an 18-month to 2-year period, Newcastle will be competing for them top 4 places. No doubt in my mind. I think it's excellent business. There's no doubt. Yes, darling. Where is your tablet? Where's mummy? Okay, okay, I'll be 5 minutes. Thank you. She wants a tablet and it's in the kitchen on the side. Sorry, peeps. The people who say they are anti-capitalists are the ones that own the latest iPhone and sit in Starbucks. You are absolutely right. Dan here says, I'm happy for Newcastle. If this happens, Ashley has killed them slowly and sucked all the life out of that club. Again, one of the things I hope that the Newcastle owners do, legit, is rename the stadium St. James's Park. They've got no reason not to. That's what I hope they do. Why can't United get a sugar daddy? Because the owners don't want to sell. Why United don't have a world-class manager? Because the owners are happy with where things are. This could change things for Man United, though, in a positive way. Because if we now think, I was listening to a space last night, and everyone in there was laughing at Man United in this news. And I'm thinking, listen, this could be the thing that wakes up the sleep. If top 4 is the most important thing for them, and without it, they don't want to be here. Without it, they'll sack the manager. Again, this could be the knock-on effect that's needed. Financially, this doesn't damage Man United because, as I say, there's only a set amount of money each year that the owners can pump in themselves. The rest has to be generated through genuine commercial activity. Now, they'll get big sponsors and they'll grow because Newcastle, which is a massive brand, they've got an amazing fan base locally. That's one thing I will say, Newcastle fans, there's a few things you've got to strap yourselves in for, and we'll delve into that in a minute. But they'll grow nicely and they'll do well. But it's going to be a top 5 now. There'll be a top 5. Which means every year a big team with big money is missing out on Champions League positions. It's going to be amazing. From a competitive point of view, it's going to be absolutely astounding. Now, in terms of the deal, it's set to be announced in the coming hours. I mean, it's when I've read a lot of tweets from people in the know, it's done. Everybody is just waiting for the right time to announce it and a few more boxes to be ticked. But the takeover is complete. It's going to happen. It's going to move forward. But yeah, I want your thoughts and I want your feelings. Someone here says you can cook the books, Terry, like City did. Yeah, but even City cooking the books, it can only be done to a certain degree. What they're not going to be able to do is the Sheikh isn't going to be able to spend £200 million, £300 million every summer and have a wage bill of £500 million a year. European FFP and domestic FFP still exist at this moment. By the way, if FFP gets scrapped and it's a free-for-all, then only Man City, Newcastle and Chelsea will ever be able to win the title with the current ownership structure as it is. Again, unless the Cronkies want to start spending some of their $6 billion, unless the Wolves owner wants to start spending some of these $5 billion. The Glazers aren't spending any of their money, by the way. With FFP, there's an element of protection for the likes of Man United. There's only a certain amount the owners can pump in. But it's going to be enough still. And with the sponsorship deals that their friends and family and business owners they know will pump into the football club, I wouldn't be surprised if Newcastle get an Etihad's airline type sponsor. Essentially, someone close to the Crown Prince sponsoring the club and whatnot. But that their income will within 2 or 3 years will start to catch almost instantly the big players in the Prem. And that's just the way it is. There's a comment here says Newcastle might have oil owners, but the city is still Newcastle. So would a superstar want to live in Newcastle over Manchester, London? Yes, Newcastle's an amazing city, especially like most cities in England, if you've got loads of money, are nice because no one lives in the city generally. You live in a lovely suburb or a nice part of the countryside nearby. Newcastle as a city is an amazing. If you've never been to Newcastle, you ain't lived. It's a great night out. It's a great place to go. Absolutely brilliant place to go. Do you think Newcastle should go for a manager like, I don't even know who that manager is. I don't know. Who is that manager? Why don't I know who that manager is when I read the name? It's a great question, and I'm going to research who that is because my knowledge is Lucia. How do you pronounce it? Swiss manager. Who's he currently managing? Is it Dortmund? No, he's managed Dortmund. Where's he at now, this dude? He's 63. Is that the right level that they need right now? Where is he now? Nowhere. He was at Dortmund. Okay, yeah, I know who you're talking about now. Yeah, I mean, someone like him could work. Do you know what I actually think they should go for first? Graham Potter. As the first manager in the foundation building, Graham Potter to instill a brilliant football philosophy, someone that can bring in good attacking football, someone who needs a chance at a bigger club that could go on to massive things while they're building. And then in 2 years' time, 3 years' time, when they've built the foundation, they've got the star quality in, you make a decision. Is he the guy to take us to winning Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues? Or do we now need to step up to that next level and go and bring Pep in or Klopp in? Like, that's what they should maybe looking at doing in relation to that. But we will see. There's a comment here from a Newcastle fan, Geordie Toon for life. Says, I don't want us to win the league every year. I want a competitive league. Otherwise, what's the point? Bro, when you start winning the league, your mind's going to change. And as I said earlier to Newcastle fans, there's something to be mindful of here. Everything you now do will be undermined. Everything you now do. I tweeted Kendall last night saying, welcome to the big leagues where everything you do gets scrutinized. And she's like, how can people scrutinize success? I'm like, people downplay the treble. They downplay four league titles in 5 years. Twitter has convinced people that Ryan Giggs and Paul Scholes and Roy Keane were average football players who were carried by the other average players that were around them. This is just what happens. Newcastle, it's plastic. City doesn't count. It's plastic. Chelsea success is hollow. Welcome to the big leagues. You know you're a big club or a threatening club when everybody plays you down. Yesterday, I heard desperation in the voices of rivals. I hope it's Man United that drop out of the top 4. Everybody's worried. Chelsea, City, they're all worried. Liverpool worried. When Jurgen Klopp goes, don't be surprised if Liverpool are the ones that drop off. United could miss out. Anyone could. But that's what's exciting about it. The jeopardy. We all cried. We all cried our eyes out. Oh, there's Super League, no jeopardy. We had jeopardy. We're all like, oh, yeah, not worried about it at all. Everybody's worried about Newcastle. Everybody's worried about Newcastle right now. I'm going to share the link on the stream for you to come on and have your say. I want to hear from you in relation to this. Get your super chats in as well. You must have questions. You must have thoughts. You must have feelings on this right about now. Let's get this done. Let's get the link out there for you all. I want to hear from you. Some of you may have concerns as well, and I want to know what you're thinking. I want to know what you're feeling in relation to that. If you're a Newcastle fan, I'd love to hear from you on the terrace today. I really, really would. We have a super chat here from my brother. A man like Sharek, don't really super chat often, but thank you. He says, good morning, Terry. I'm officially 2 decades old today. Fun fact, I share a birthday with Trent Alexander-Arnold and Putin. Love the show, always supporting. I know you do, my brother. You're one. Do you know what? If every single one of the Football Terrace supporters shared my content like you do, we would double in size within a month. You're an absolute star. You're an absolute brilliant person, Sharek. So thank you very, very much indeed. Thank you, my brother. Terry, I don't think there will be another Man City or Chelsea again. They came in at the perfect time. I feel like Newcastle, the best they can be is like Leicester. Would you know what I would say to that? If the best they can be is Leicester, that's a vast improvement on what they are now, first and foremost. Secondly, what I would say is they can do what City and Chelsea have done, but it's why I said it needs to be a steady and organic growth. Because City and Chelsea got taken over before FFP, it was a lot easier to pump silly money in from the start. There were no constraints controlling you. So they can get their ducks in a row and get it done properly. They can still challenge because all it takes, again, there's legal ways of doing it. And when I say legal, I mean FFP legal. As long as they get the right sponsorship deals and the money is coming in directly from those companies and essentially isn't being funneled in indirectly from the Crown Prince in ways that are against the rules, there's nothing stopping them growing in the way in which they want. And this could be, I'm not going to say it's going to be damning for anybody per se. It's just going to be huge. It's going to be huge. It depends on what their ambitions are. It depends on how dedicated they are. It depends how well they run it. There've been other billionaire owners that have destroyed football clubs in the Premier League and outside the Premier League. You know, for every Roman, you know what I mean? There's a Venki. So I think it's really important to remember this. It looks good though. By the noise coming out of Newcastle, it looks good and it looks promising. There's no doubt whatsoever. First caller on the show today is going to be my brother, long time no speak, man like Kai, Chelsea fan Kai's here with me. Keep that like button being smashed. Share this stream. Newcastle takeover done. If you want to speak Paul Pogba's new deal, you can. If you want to speak about Yves Bissouma, please don't. We're not chatting about it. I made my statement earlier on in the show. Innocent until proven guilty. Respect the potential victim as well. No more needs to be said on the matter. Other than that, so if you're calling about it, the call will be shut down. Us and Chelsea ain't worried. I'm happy for them, is what Thomas, who's a City fan, said. Yeah, I mean, look, I would still be a little bit worried. If I would be, because all of our clubs want to win trophies every year. We want to win every trophy every year, of course. If there's another team that can conceivably win it, it means we all win less. Winning less should be a worry for you. Not a panic that you're suddenly going to come 10th, but it should be a worry. Like, from a competitive point of view, brilliant. From an individual club point of view, it's a worry. In terms of who misses out on the top four, depends. Cycles, my friends. Cycles, my friends. Cycles, my friends. Thank you for that super chat, though, brother. Next, as I say, Kai's here with me to have his say. I'm going to take your call to the next 10 minutes or so. Let's jump into this, people. Yes, Kai, how you doing, mate? Good morning.
Good, man. Good morning. Just working. Yeah, man. I'm happy for Newcastle. I don't think it will be kind of like a threat for Chelsea and City, but if I was like an Arsenal or a Leicester or those teams who are fighting for the top six, that would be a worry from them starting next season. Hopefully, luckily for us Chelsea fans, FFP exists now, so they can't just buy whoever they want, because you know how these Saudi prince like to spend money just for fun. They literally like to burn money. But it's interesting. It's really good for the league. If I want to look at it like being non-selfish for the Premier League as a whole, I think it's really, really good that there's another team who's going to compete for the top six or maybe the top four. I don't know what's their ambitions and what exactly they want to achieve in the league, but I think if you're a neutral, and you're a fan of the Premier League by itself, I think that's just another team who's going to compete for, let's say, realistically top 10, top 6, maybe top 4. So that's really, really good news for the league, in my opinion. I don't know what you think, Terry.
Yeah, no, it is. And again, a lot of people are. So there are things to be concerned about. Like I said, I think the concern will be like, from a City point of view, are they going to win the league? Are we going to win the league? There are legitimate things to concern yourself over with this. I don't think there's any doubt about that. That from a competitive point of view, we're all going to. Man United haven't won the league in 10 years, but you hear what I mean when I say this. We're all going to win the league less if Newcastle's takeover and running of their club is as good as Chelsea's, as good as City's, as good as other big teams across Europe that are owned by billionaires. Everyone will win less, but it makes it more competitive, so it's more fun. At the same time, if you're a club that isn't run well, so like Man United at the moment, Tottenham, Arsenal, they're the teams that should really panic if Newcastle's run well, because it means, again, your comeback is even less likely over a sustained period of time or whatever it is. But it could also trigger these clubs and these owners. Like, these things can have a knock-on effect. If you're Man United and what's the belief is the Glazers only want top 4, well, if you're not running yourself well enough to make top 4, it means they either have to change how they run the club, which will then make us as competitive as everybody else, or they sell the club. And look, they've sold over £300 million worth of shares in the last year. There are talks that they're looking at a potential exit strategy. And maybe with 2 or 3 more billionaire owners coming in, Manchester United becomes a club that they just said, you know what, we're just not going to be able to get the top 4. The asset isn't going to grow like we want. We're not going to make the money like we want. Let's sell. And trust me, if Man United go on the market, a billionaire like Newcastle's is going to want to take over us. And it's people always look at things short term. Oh, it's bad right now. I think there's far more good to come from this from a football standpoint. What's your take on people's moralistic issues with these kind of deals? Like, what's your take on like people that moan about, the Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Salman, like what his country stands for politically, the things that he's supposedly done, reportedly done. What's your view on people that like take that stance?
I think with all due respect to these people, and you know how much I respect random people voices, but the reality is any of those teams, if they could be bought, like I remember Arsenal, whenever that Spotify guy was about to buy them, all of a sudden they're buying Spotify shares, blah blah blah, all that stuff. For me, everybody wants to be rich, yeah, but nobody wants to do the work that it's gonna get them there, So they all want their clubs to be like massive, but when another club does it, all of a sudden it's a disgrace. If they've been in the same shoes, they wouldn't be saying those stuff. It's just sour grapes for me, man. It's the same thing with Chelsea. Like whenever you got, I don't know if you remember this, but when Chelsea got bought by Roman, every person in England was like, "Oh, he's gonna get tired of you next year. He's gonna get tired of you in 5 years." And 18 years later, we are still here, man. Champions of Europe, bro. So
absolutely, mate. And I was kind of one of them people to a degree, because I was young and naive, and it's like, he won't stay here long because everybody was saying it. And then actually you grow up, you learn, you get educated, and you realize this man's going nowhere. Like he wants to, it wasn't just a hobby. Legitimately, he wants it. And look, so I said, we don't quite know how good these new owners of Newcastle are going to be. We don't, in the sense of they can say a lot of things, but how they actually run the club, that's where the proof's going to be. I mean, QPR got taken over by billionaires. My brother's club, Leyton Orient, got taken over by a billionaire that said he was going to do a Roman. That didn't work. The Venkis at Blackburn. In fairness, you look at this, the Cronkies are richer or as rich as Roman, and they haven't done what Roman did. So the point is that you never quite know, but the signs look really good. The fact they've fought so hard to do this, the signs look really good for Newcastle.
And you know what it is? All this, like people from Bahrain, Emirates, Saudi Arabia, for them, this is they do it for fun. Because let's be honest, most of their assets come from oil, airlines, all that stuff. So a lot of the time, these people, they just want something like a hobby, something, because they are very, very passionate about football in the Middle East. So I think they're doing it because they want to achieve something, or at least kind of, for them it's a hobby, it's a game, but they will spend a lot of money, because I don't know if you've been around Saudis.
I have.
They do like to spend money for the sake of it, just for the sake of it.
But let me just say this. I was at an event when I was sort of in the private banking world. I was at an event and I saw something happen at this, there were all these cars and all sorts of madness there, right? Again, money that I would never be able to afford to spend in my life. And I was there and it was great. And there was this car, and it was when I say a model, it was a shell of a car that was going to be developed and ready in 2 years' time. It was I want to say, what's that car begins with B? It's like, not even like, it's a brand that very rarely see around. Bugatti. So their cars are dumb expensive. And this was a new design that was coming out. And this Saudi prince wanted it. I say a prince. I don't know if he's a prince. He was a billionaire, but he was a Saudi guy. And because I was being told by one of the guys that we were there with, he spent £500,000 buying something that wasn't even a car. He just wanted that to put in a part of one of his homes. He just wanted it there as like a statue, basically. And they were like, "It's not a car, though." He said, "Yeah, but I still want it." And in the end, they did a deal for £500,000, and he bought this prototype shell. And I'm like, that was my reckoning of, these people love to spend, bro. As in, but when you're worth 320 billion, right? Why not? £500,000 is nothing. Do you know what I mean? But that's what's. I mean, the one saving grace for everybody is that FFP does exist, and I think that's the one thing that's going to not slow it down. Their growth won't be, in my opinion, as quick as Chelsea's was, and City's was. It just can't be. It's actually impossible for that to happen because of that. But it will still happen fairly quickly, 2 to 3 years, and they can be legitimately competitive, I think.
Can I ask you a question? Do you think they're gonna do like I don't like to accuse City, but the way that they did a lot of like their finances, they did a lot of money laundering, a lot of like they put it in the airline and they kind of move their money around. But a lot of rich people do it, especially I mean when I say rich, I mean like stupid wealthy, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
so for me, I think they'll try to do something similar, but I think FIFA will be kind of into their records now. I think FIFA are going to be a lot more aware after the City situation. I mean, by FIFA, I mean UEFA, and I
Yeah.
think they will be a bit more kind of strict with them. But I hope they will let them spend because I want to see another team here because it's kind of getting boring now with City and Chelsea just ruling. It was nice to have Liverpool for 2 years, 3 years, and but
Yeah,
yeah,
I think. Look, there are ways to do it. There are
yep,
ways to spend money and kind of counteract the rules, but in a legal way. I think the blueprint is there. It's like, what did City do that was wrong? Cool. Well, let's make sure we don't make those mistakes
yeah.
and we do it in a different way. Listen, Kai, thanks for coming on, mate, and having your say. Really appreciate it,
Thank you,
bro.
Terry.
Top man.
Take care,
Thank
take
you.
care.
Next on the show, we've got Abs is with us. Abs is a Chelsea fan. What are you saying, Abs?
All right, so first and foremost, I don't want to go back to it, but this guy has to be, and I know I didn't watch him, but he has to be the GOAT Prem winger. And the reason why Arsenal fans put him down was because he always banned against them, so yeah. But obviously, so, nah, but you see what it is with Newcastle. I'm happy, because I always say I'm a football fan and a Chelsea fan, and as a football fan, I'm happy for Newcastle coming, because people have to remember, Newcastle are no scrubs, they're a big club in terms of in England. So, and they obviously had that team. Then they were. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go on, mate. She's my daughter. Go on, keep going, mate. Keep going.
No, but you see what it is. So they were a big club in the 90s. They had that team with like Ginola and Shearer and
really struggling with your signal at the minute. Abs, try and call us back when your signal sorts itself. It's kind of really glitching out. Try logging back in, logging back out again. It might improve things. We're gonna get Kasim on the line now to have his say with us on the terrace. What you saying, bro?
Hi, Terry. You all right, my mate?
Yeah, I'm very good, my friend. What do you want to say, buddy?
What do you want to know about the Arab? Because I'm from United Arab Emirates, mate. I'm from Abu Dhabi. That's why but I lived here for 20 years in UK.
Okay. So in terms of your take, how well do you think they're going to run Newcastle?
Oh, mate, I tell you something. As I told you, I'm from United Arab Emirates with Sheikh Mansour and Nayan Group. But that Prince Mohammed bin Salman is super rich. I can tell you that now. Okay? And and I'm telling you now, and I mark my word, Terry. So if it's the takeover done, next year, Newcastle in top 4. 100%.
Straight away.
Straight away. That's how rich he is. That's how rich he is, Mohammed bin Salman. As I said to you, I'm a Chelsea fan, but City, Sheikh Mansour, and his brother Mohammed and Khalifa, they got loads of money, but not as much as Saudi Arabia. So this guy, and to them, Terry, you need to understand, and Sheikh Khalifa for PSG from Qatar, but the Arab to them, this pleasure and competition. You need to understand that. They're in competition with each other. That's how we work in Ankara. I know, as I said to you, I'm from there and I know very well. So Newcastle, on no time, top 4 next year. Mark my word. And I tell you something, you should be worried, Terry, because if Pogba and a free transfer next year and Zidane is available, don't think Sheikh Mohammed bin Salman will not do it. He will do it, mate. Trust my word. The money is not an object. That's what I wanted to say.
I agree with you. I think they are going to spend it. I think they can get things done in the right way. It's scary time. It's from a competitive point of view for everybody's clubs individually. It is scary times. There's no doubt. Kasim, thank you very much for the call, mate. Really appreciate it, bro.
Cheers,
thank you very much indeed. And a lot of people are laughing at like Zidane at Newcastle and Haaland. If they build the foundation right and the ambition is to win, there's no reason for them not to go there. There's no way Messi 15 years ago goes PSG. There's no way any of City's current players go there 15 years ago. But it's about the project. It's about the base. It's about what they're trying to do. Abs is back with us now to have his say. What are you saying, buddy?
Well, can you hear me now?
Yes, bro. That's much better. Much better.
All right. Say no more. Well, you see what it is with the whole Newcastle takeover thing. I said it's probably good for the league because what is it? Obviously, it's going to add more competition. It's going to bring a new thing. I know that the way I think about it is if they came in and if they took over, I think they're probably going to start by trying to just, recruit the, what's it called? The, how do I say this? Like, you know what Man City used to do where they basically used to recruit like the best, well, not even the best, but just English talent within there to try and build their team up and try and get back into the top 4, top 6 consistently. I think that's what Newcastle could probably end up doing if this takeover goes through. And then once they start getting the revenue for finishing higher up in the league and potentially getting into the Champions League or Europa League, then from there they'll be able to, start spending the big bucks and getting the real top orders in. So I think it's good competition for the league. Obviously, I don't want any more competition in terms of going for the title because we need to win that title because we've not won it for time. But overall, I think it's a good thing for the league. And, Newcastle, they are a big club in England. Most football fans in England would say they're a big club. And, I think for the way that they've been treated by Mike Ashley, I think it's almost only fair that they get some form of success in the modern era.
Yeah, I mean, I say in fairness, I think it's good to see them with an owner that's going to take care of things. There'll be money pumped into the local economy. Another thing Newcastle fans have to bear in mind is they're going to get a lot of tourist fans now as well. So, but this is what I like about it, right? They're going to get new fans. And what I mean by that is I can't wait to see Newcastle fans frantically deleting tweets because I remember living in Manchester, met a lot of Man City fans that were like, you're a plastic club. You have too many out-of-town supporters. It isn't real, not local, da-da-da-da-da. And now it's like there are City shirts all across the country, all across the world. Chelsea, the same thing, all across the world. They grow that fan base. If you want to be, it doesn't matter how rich your owners are, if you want to dine at the top table, you have to grow your national and international fan base because it's the money. You need those fans. If there was no FFP, it doesn't matter if you've got 10 fans or 10 million fans around the world because you can pump the money in. But to grow and for the sponsorship deals to work and for the revenue to continue to be generated, you have to grow the fan base. Newcastle have a big fan base. Newcastle have a lot of fans across the UK that are my age because of how good they were in the mid-90s. They can now hit that again. It's going to be a madness time. It's going to be very, very exciting for football in general. Abs, top man for coming on and having your say. Really appreciate it, bro. Thank you, brother. All the best. Thank you. Ansar's on the show with us next. Long time no speak. How you doing, buddy?
Hi, Jerry. It's Asan, by the way.
Asan, sorry, wrong. I misread it. Sorry, Asan. Sorry, bro. What you saying, buddy? What you saying?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me on, my friend. It's been a while.
It has. What do you want to say, my friend?
Well, a couple of things. First of all, I'm happy for Newcastle. I mean, as a club, it's one of those. If anyone had a second club to support, it's Newcastle. People have a soft spot for because it's a organically grown club. It's got its local fans. It's got a huge fan base and fond memories of the 90s where I'd love it if we beat them. I'd love it. That kind of rivalry. And, it'll be nice to see them back up there, to be honest. And I think the Saudis have bought the right club if they weren't going to get one of the main big clubs like Man United. Obviously, as a United fan, I'm a bit gutted because we could do with that level of investment and stuff. But for Newcastle, they've got all the raw ingredients. They've got the stadium, they've got the fans, they've got the infrastructure in the area to really sort of grow, and not just because of all this huge money being pumped in, but the fans will be energized again. I think the Newcastle fans recently have been really sort of flat because of the Mike Ashley depression that's been going on. So it'll be an exciting time for Newcastle. So I'm happy for them. Obviously, I think as a United fan, wow, the top 4 races heating up, and will the Glazers stick or twist? That's the big one. I know they sold some shares recently.
Yeah, and mate, and that is the big one. As you say, will they stay? Will they go? What will they do? I think it's all up in the air, mate. There's no doubt. Listen, brother, thank you for coming on and having your say. Really appreciate it, my man. I think you're frozen a little bit there. Top man, thank you. Next up, City Express, Man City fan here with us to have his say. What you saying, buddy?
Hi, Terry. So I think so that Newcastle will be doing bits in the next like Sterling from City. he's looking to leave, and there was a lot of speculation that Barca may not be able to afford him, things like that. So I think so players like Sterling and yeah, so they can easily go to Newcastle, start a new
Yeah.
journey, and maybe
Yeah, I'm really struggling to hear you. The line isn't very good, mate. Try calling this back. It keeps cutting in and out, my friend. I'm really, really sorry about that. Thank you, buddy. Thank you. Next up, we're going to go to, oh, wow, who are we going to get on here next? We're going to get the True Red Devil. True Red Devil, man like Russell's back with the Terrace. What do you want to say, bro?
Just wanted to ask about the Pogba deal. But firstly, a moment of silence for Sunderland fans. As a United fan, I love it. I love to see them tweaking and complaining and starting to talk about, oh, yeah, look at the Saudis, where they're coming from. It's beautiful. Not that I see a lot of them, but it's beautiful.
Yeah, I hear you on that. Yeah, Paul Pogba, you want to speak about? Go for it, buddy.
Paul Pogba, man. Paul Pogba. So there was a headline that Paul Pogba might sign a new contract. I'm sorry, I just called it a little bit late. How positive is it looking, if I may ask? Is it something that's going to happen, in your opinion?
It's so hard to gauge. I think with Paul Pogba, even with what the Quip have said, I'm reading between the lines here because of the Quip story and Fabrizio's. I think he's always been, if you listen to most journalists, he's always been up for staying at Man United. It's just whether or not he's been more up for going somewhere else. I think it's about. I don't think we'll get any decisions until around December, and I could end up being so wrong about this. And he signs a new deal today, and I get laughed at. But I think it will be around December time. I think he'll get final offers in from. I think it's about money for Pogba. And by the way, that isn't a dig. It's if Man United offer 400 grand a week and PSG offer 300 grand, he'll pick Man United. He's just trying to secure the best deal possible for him. Do I think football's the key driver here for him? No, I don't. I think he wants to secure the best financial deal for himself, and I'm not gonna scoff at that because he's entitled to do that for himself. Because if it was about football, he wouldn't consider it for Man United because none of us feel like we're ready to start winning trophies yet. Again, he might know things we don't. It might be. Let's wait to see if we look to bring in a world-class manager. If they're like, yeah, listen, we're bringing in Zidane next, he might think, I'd love to play for Zidane. That all these things could be going on, but I think it's still. It's still up in the air. To put it bluntly, it's up in the air. He may sign, he may not. No, I don't even think he knows yet himself personally.
Because I think the reason I ask is, I think 2 years back, I would be worried about it. No lie, I would be really worried about Pogba leaving. But currently, I look at it realistically and they say, well, he's not going to Juventus for obvious reasons, the money reasons. He's not going to Real Madrid. Like you say, the option is PSG. But if PSG don't come in for him, I honestly see Paul Pogba signing a new deal at United. And I've been saying this for the past few years, but right now I'm more confident than not that he signs a new deal because where does he go? You look at the squad that we have right now that we're building. Forget about the manager. The squad that he has to play with here at the moment is probably top 5 squads in Europe.
Yeah.
So no, I think there's more reason for him to stay than leave.
Yeah, and there absolutely is. And there absolutely is. There is reasons for him to stay. There's reasons for him to go. That's why I say it's all up in the air. It's down to the club. If we want to keep him, offer him the money, which I believe they have done, and show him it's the right place for him to stay. If we don't have that ambition and he leaves, again, it's not an Ollie issue. It's a club issue. Listen, Russell, top man, thanks for coming on and having your say today. Really appreciate it, bro. Thank you. Dang, my country owns a big club, is what's being said here. I did put a tweet out a few moments ago. So the Amnesty International chief executive has urged the Premier League to consider Saudi Arabia's human rights record again after settling for a commercial dispute appeared to clear the way for the Saudi-led takeover. So Amnesty International are basically saying don't do it. Don't do it because of the poor human rights record in Saudi Arabia. And like I've said before, I do understand that. I do understand that challenge. The problem that you have is how far do you take that logic? Is it someone who who is like part of the royal family or runs a country? Is it who you support politically? What about the other billionaires and the companies that their money's invested in? Because all these, by the way, all these billionaires, they have tens of millions, hundreds of millions of pounds invested with hedge funds, with banks, into investments, which are then, and by the way, they won't be aware of all these things per se, but then all that money is then invested into various stocks and shares. It's like, well, what if some of that's been, and some of it will touch on things like arms dealings. Some of it isn't even as immoral as how that sounds out loud. Your investment, your hedge fund could essentially be betting on the price of food going down, which causes like food prices to drop, which means less income for particular countries. Countries that are already only are in a developmental state, which causes a shortage of money. How immoral is that? The problem you have, and I'm not against any of these arguments, is first of all, what I want to hear from anybody that doesn't want the Saudi owners is write your list down of types of owners and types of activity from owners that you deem unacceptable and which ones you allow to pass through. Because for me, it's far too inconsistent. It is far too inconsistent to turn around and say, this type of owner, yes, this type of owner, no. I just want a clear idea of who you should and shouldn't have as owners. And then present it and then stick to it. And then stick to it to the nth degree. Condemn all clubs in that space. But I think you'll find, you know what I mean? I just don't understand what people find moral and immoral. I understand the human rights record of Saudi Arabia. I do get that argument. And if you think it should stand, then state it. I do then also assume that you will stop watching football. I assume you will not watch football anymore. You know, I want these people to take an actual stance against this and not just tweet about it. KJ's here with me now. What are you saying, bruv?
Yo, listen. I'm here to talk PP. I'm here to talk Newcastle. Let's talk with Newcastle. I'm actually excited for this takeover, you know. I feel like it'll be very good for the league in terms of you got another team competing for the eventually for the title, I believe. A team like Newcastle as well, who's got a big, he's a big club in the Premier League. They've got a big history, and their fans deserve this. Also, flipping Kendall can start crying every time they play now. You know what I'm saying? I love you, Kendall. I'm happy for you. But yeah, it's going to be good. And as a United fan, I'm actually happy this is happening because, yes, it may be another team that could take it, can push us. But that's exactly what I want. I want teams to be so good that it makes sure that United either stay trying to grow better or exposes the owners for what they are. And then the more teams that beat us to top four, the more chances that these pagans decide to be like, you know what, screw this whole like Premier League, Man United thing, let us sell. Because you already see them selling off their shares left, right, and centre for some reason right now. So if there's another team, another reason for Man United to be halted in their pursuit of success, that will give us more chance to get these pagans out. So it's a good thing for everyone, especially
mate, I agree. Like I said, I was listening to a space last night that Igal was hosting, and it was kind of weird. It was almost like everyone was celebrating the demise of Man United, and I just thought to myself, it just felt silly to me in the sense of it's either going to be short term or not at all that Man United fall away, because if our owners are money hungry and they want that Champions League money and they need that to keep the asset growing, they won't allow themselves to fall out of it, or they'll sell it before it starts to depreciate. Either of those two things is better for us. The more teams there are that compete, the more they'll pump in and the better run that they want the club to be, because they'll need to maintain things. Do you get what I mean? It doesn't actually make sense. The knock-on effect could be positive for us. If one club that should be worried, two clubs in the big leagues should be Tottenham and Arsenal, because their income is nowhere near Manchester United's, and that's going to be the issues there, bruv. There's a super chat here that says human rights may be an issue, but most Geordies won't care. Mike Ashley's ownership has been shambolic. Newcastle fans deserve better for the league. And I get that Newcastle fans won't care, and to a degree, I respect it. What I mean by that is, though, I then don't want those same people, not that they listen to me, I'll just be blocking them people that then like tweet about the morality of a particular football player or the morality of this club or the morality of this action. If your owners, like, do you get my point? It's like, I'm happy for people to accept these owners because I'm not condemning them, am I? I'm not saying they shouldn't be here. But then to be like, I've just found out, I'll give you a really direct example. I just found out the Glazers donate to Israel and Israel does what it does to Palestine. Therefore, they're scumbag owners. But then your owners are doing other atrocities. It's like, I just don't want to hear you moan about other people if you're not moaning about your own. That's all I'm stating. Like, if you're someone that moans about all of them, cool. But you can't moan about the Saudi owners of Newcastle, but they're not moan about City's owners. You can't moan about United's owners because of something they do and not Chelsea's owners. Like, I just want some consistency from football fans. And that's why, for me, most of the people moaning about these things, I'm like, you don't care about those atrocities. You just don't want them to get owned like that because they're going to compete with you or push you down the pecking order. So you're actually using something that's considered an atrocity by some, and you're using it for games that you don't believe in. And that, for me, is terrible. But there we go. Human rights are a complicated issue, neutral to feel conflicted. And I totally agree with that. I totally agree with people's right to say, I don't think it's right. My problem is you can often see through the people that are being pseudo-moralistic, the people that are just saying it because they're jealous that Newcastle have got this versus somebody. So there's one journalist out there that literally challenges all the clubs that are owned by these states. He does it with all of them. So I'm like, I respect that because he does it to all of them. But if you're someone that's just doing it to Newcastle, but ignoring, Mike Ashley's actions as a man, are not as bad as some of the human rights allegations against these clubs. Mistreating staff at Sports Direct, I don't think is comparable to, and I'm going to be blunt again, not letting women drive or killing gay people. They're not comparable, but they're still not great. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just want to know what people's levels are for owners and what they would allow to happen and what they wouldn't allow to happen. I'm not stating what's right and what's wrong. I just want to challenge people to open up a little bit more about what they think is good and what they think is bad. KJ, I really appreciate you coming on, mate, and having your say. Someone has just told Terry making excuses. I'm not making excuses. I'm legitimately not making excuses. I don't know. I'm simply stating I want to understand people's stances before they put things out.
Just a quick one on PP.
So sorry, this says here, this ain't happening. And this ain't happening, no murderers. And like, my point is, I'm only telling you what the allegations are. I've never been to any of these countries. I've never seen anything personally, so I don't know. But my point is, right? My point is, if you're going to moan about it, set your stance. Yeah, go on PP, bruv.
Yeah. It's obviously news coming around that he probably wants to sign a new contract. I'm all for it if we are going out to sign the midfield partners. I say partners because I feel like we need one or two more midfielders that can play with Paul Pogba coming into the club. If we're just signing him just to keep the players that we've got, there's no point because we're just going to see more of the same. Man United need to be smart with this. If you're putting Paul Pogba on this new long-term contract, actually build the team with the balance needed to fit him in, because it's not impossible to fit Bruno and Pogba in. It's difficult because of the way that they play, but it's not impossible. Bring in the players. Bring in the manager that can make it work. Otherwise, signing him on for another 3 years is pointless.
Yeah. Mate, I totally hear you on that. It's going to be intriguing to see what happens. Thanks for coming on, mate, and having your say. Really appreciate it, bro. Thank you. Leaf is with us here now. What are you saying, Leaf?
I'm very conflicted because the Newcastle takeover is good for the Premier League. It's going to be very competitive. Honestly, I'm not really worried as a Spurs fan, because if they overtake us, I mean, like you said about Man United, if they overtake us and we're not even in Europa League, then it will just be a greater campaign to get Levy out. Yeah, I mean, I don't like the fact that it's a country again, and like the businessman and a country buying a club is very, very different. When you're a country that's worth the family is worth trillions of dollars, and the country doesn't have human rights, it's different from a businessman because it's literally an entire country.
Yeah, and listen, as I say, I'm fairly ignorant to it in the sense of, So I've sat there and listened to debates where, like, even in the live comment sections, I can see some people saying a lot of the allegations against Saudi Arabia are false. It's a great country. People are treated brilliantly. Don't listen to what the media says. And that's my issue with it from my standpoint. And I'm not. It's about education, and I don't tend to get involved in things that I don't have in terms of an opinion on things that I don't have an extensive education, especially when there's such conflicting views from informed people. Does that make sense? And I think that you get a lot of people on Twitter say it's a disgrace because I read this in a newspaper article once, and it's like, well, I'm not saying it isn't happening. At the same time, I've read in this article or from this journalist, from this person, that it's being exaggerated, and it's a difficult one for me personally to sit there and engage. I tend to stay out of it as best I can, really.
I'm not gonna buy any Newcastle shirts or anything like that. So it's not like I'm gonna give money to them, or I'm not gonna go to St. James Park. But I mean, for Newcastle fans, I want to say you shouldn't feel if you're upset. I think it's okay to not feel upset because your club is finally having a new owner. I'm not going against any Newcastle fans at all.
Yeah, no, mate, I totally hear you on that. I really, really do. Lee, thanks for coming on, mate, and having your say. Thank you very much, buddy. Thank you. Hello, Freya. Listen, everybody that's tuned in this morning, thank you. We're back later on today with the Bet Victor show. I'm sure we're going to be talking more about Newcastle's takeover and all that jazz. Smash that like button before you leave. But until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again very,